Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Three Koi Fishes channel. I'm your host, Joy, and we're welcoming back Sophie and Jocelyn for part 2 of Is It ADHD? Early Signs and What Parents Should Do. If you missed part 1, I've included a link in the description below. So Sophie, at the end of part 1, you mentioned educational support like IEPs or 504 plans. Can you tell us a bit more about what those are?
Absolutely. When a child is diagnosed with ADHD, or even if they are struggling significantly in school and there's a suspicion of learning or attention difficulties, the school can conduct an evaluation. If the evaluation determines that the child has a disability that impacts their ability to learn, they may be eligible for either an individualized education program, or an IEP, or a Section 504 plan.
What's the difference between the two? They sound similar.
They do, but there are key distinctions. An IEP is a more comprehensive, legally binding document under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, also known as IDEA. To qualify for an IEP, a child must have one of 13 specific disabilities recognized under IDEA, and that disability must significantly impact their educational performance, requiring specialized instruction. The IEP outlines specific learning goals, the special education services the child will receive, any related services like speech therapy or counseling, and necessary accommodations. It's created by a team that includes parents, teachers, school psychologists, and other relevant professionals, and it's reviewed at least annually. Think of it as a tailored roadmap for a child who needs a different approach to learning.
So, if a child needs significant modifications to the curriculum or direct specialized teaching, an IEP would be the way to go?
Exactly. Now, a 504 plan falls under Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination based on disability in programs receiving federal funding, like public schools. The eligibility criteria for a 504 plan are broader. A child qualifies if they have any physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities, which can include learning, but also things like concentrating, communicating, or even taking care of oneself.
So, a child with ADHD might qualify for a 504 plan even if they don't need specialized instruction in the traditional sense?
Precisely. A 504 plan focuses on providing accommodations and modifications within the regular classroom setting to ensure the child has equal access to education. These might include things like preferential seating to minimize distractions, extended time on tests and assignments, allowing for movement breaks, providing instructions in multiple formats, or using assistive technology. The goal is to level the playing field so the child can learn effectively alongside their peers. While a written 504 plan is best practice and legally binding, it doesn't always involve the same level of detailed goals and specialized instruction as an IEP.
That makes a lot of sense. So, depending on the severity of the learning or attention challenges and whether specialized instruction is needed, the school team will determine if an IEP or a 504 plan is the more appropriate support.
That's a good summary. It's a collaborative process between the school and the parents to determine the best way to support the child's educational needs. If you suspect your child is struggling, don't hesitate to request an evaluation from the school. Understanding these options is a crucial step in advocating for your child's success.
What if a child qualifies for both? Are there trade offs in choosing one over the other? And what does this mean from the child's perspective? I worry about things like, will they be teased for being in a special program? Will colleges look at them differently down the line? How do parents manage those potential challenges?
Those are incredibly important questions, Jocelyn, and they touch on the heart of what every parent worries about. When a child qualifies for both, the decision often comes down to the extent of support needed. Let's discuss the trade-offs between IEP and 504. While IEPs offer more intensive and individualized support with specialized instruction and specific goals, they can sometimes involve more pull-out services, meaning the child might spend more time outside the regular classroom. This could, in some environments, unfortunately lead to a child feeling different or being perceived differently by peers, although this is something schools actively work to minimize through inclusive practices. The paperwork and meetings involved with IEPs can also be more extensive for parents. Now, the 504 plans aim to keep the child primarily in the general education setting with accommodations. This can reduce the feeling of being different. However, the level of direct support and specialized instruction might be less intensive than with an IEP, which could be a drawback if the child needs more significant intervention.
Jocelyn, your concern about teasing is very valid. Unfortunately, some children can be unkind. Open communication with your child is crucial. Help them understand that everyone learns differently and that these plans are there to help them succeed. Work closely with the school to foster an inclusive environment and address any instances of teasing immediately. Educating classmates about learning differences in an age-appropriate way can also be beneficial. Building your child's self-esteem and focusing on their strengths is paramount.
As for how colleges may view their child in either program is a common worry for parents, but generally, having an IEP or a 504 plan in high school does not negatively impact college admissions. Colleges are primarily focused on a student's grades, coursework, extracurricular activities, and standardized test scores. They do not typically ask about or have access to detailed information about a student's IEP or 504 plan. What can be beneficial is that students with a good understanding of their learning style, often gained through the IEP or 504 process, can advocate for themselves in college and utilize disability services offices if needed.
This is all great advice. What is the best way to manage this if your child has to be involved in one of these programs?
Management involves a multifaceted approach. 1. Open communication. Talk openly with your child about their learning differences and the support they are receiving. Normalize it as a way to help them learn best. 2. Collaboration with the school. Work closely with teachers, counselors, and special education staff to ensure the plan is being implemented effectively and that your child feels supported and included. 3. Focus on strengths. Celebrate your child's talents and abilities. ADHD often comes with unique strengths like creativity, energy, and out-of-the-box thinking. 4. Advocacy. Be your child's advocate. Ensure their rights are being met and that they are receiving the appropriate support. 5. Build self-esteem. Help your child develop a strong sense of self-worth that isn't tied to their learning differences. And 6. Connect with other families. Support groups for parents of children with ADHD can provide invaluable emotional support and practical advice.
Those are such important points, Sophie. It's not just about the academic support, but also about the child's emotional well-being and long-term success.
This has really eased some of my concerns. It sounds like open communication and a strong partnership with the school are key to navigating these educational supports positively.
Absolutely. The goal of both IEPs and 504 plans is to empower the child to learn and thrive. By addressing potential challenges proactively and focusing on their strengths, we can help them see these supports as tools for success, not labels.
This has been so helpful thinking about both my nephew now and what to keep in mind for Leo in the future. It's reassuring to know there are professionals and effective strategies available.
Absolutely. And remember, noticing potential signs of ADHD doesn't define your nephew or what it might mean for Leo down the line. They are still the same wonderful individuals with their own unique strengths. With the right support and understanding, all children can thrive.
That's so true, Sophie. And for all the parents and family members watching, please remember that you are not alone. If you have concerns about a child in your life, don't hesitate to reach out to pediatricians or other qualified professionals. Early identification and intervention can make a significant positive difference. Thank you so much, Sophie and Jocelyn, for our discussion today. It's been a truly valuable conversation, and thank you to our viewers for tuning in. Please remember to give us a like, comment, and subscribe. Join us next time on the Three Koi Fishes channel for more discussions on navigating the waters of parenthood.